It had been just over a week since I moved to the city. I was still learning to get by, but I already knew the night shifts paid better. Faster deliveries, less traffic, more peace. At least that's what they said. That night, the app was quieter than usual. I had already made 3 deliveries and was parked near a gas station when a new notification popped up. A ride in a neighborhood called North Point. I'd never heard of it, but the address looked legit. Just another number, 77 South Court Lane. I accepted right away. The GPS mapped the route, even though the neighborhood didn't show up with a name on the map. Just a gray spot, no satellite image. I figured it was a glitch or a new area of the city. The kind of thing you ignore when you just want to finish your shift. I drove for about 20 minutes until I got to the area. The landscape slowly changed. The streets became emptier, the sidewalks dirtier, the streetlights dimmer. Buildings gave way to single-story houses, all very similar, rectangular windows, porches with old chairs, neglected lawns. When I turned onto the main street of this so-called neighborhood, something felt off. Everything was lit up. Porch lights on, street lights working, even TV is glowing inside the houses, but not a single soul walking around. No car sounds, no kids playing, no dogs barking. Just complete silence, like someone had frozen the neighborhood in time. The GPS said I was 300 meters from the destination. But there were no street signs, no house numbers, just repetition. And the farther I drove, the stronger the feeling grew. I was entering a place you don't leave easily. I parked the car at a corner and checked the address again, then started walking. Sometimes in older neighborhoods, the numbers are faded or hidden behind a fence. I walked with my phone in hand, trying to match my location to house details. But all the houses looked identical. Same number of steps, same mailboxes, same plants in cracked pots. Some had half-drawn curtains, others flickering lights inside. None showed any sign of life. I turned right and kept walking. 3 blocks later, I turned left and ran straight into the same house as before. Same peeling red door, same kid's bike leaning on the stone wall. I thought maybe I'd gotten confused. I went back, marked a point on my phone, took a different route, passed a small intersection with a fallen street sign, turned right. The same house appeared again, this time with the porch light on. The name of the neighborhood wasn't anywhere. No people, no sound. The only thing repeating was the app alert. Proceed to final destination. I decided to head back to the car. But when I got close, I realized it wasn't where I remembered leaving it. I looked around. I was on the right street, but the car had vanished. Or maybe I'd messed up again. But deep down I knew. I was sure I'd parked it there. The anxiety started creeping in. Short breath, cold hands. The neighborhood felt bigger than before, like the streets had stretched. I started walking faster, turning corners randomly, until I realized that no matter where I went, I always ended up at the same spot. The corner with 3 streetlights, 2 working, the 3rd flickering slowly. And every time I looked at that porch with the kid's bike, it was closer to the curb, like it was waiting for me. The app was still open on my screen. Customer waiting, it said, even without an exact location, even without any visible address. I decided to take another loop, this time walking slower, paying attention to the details. That's when I saw, for the first time, a figure on the porch. It was a house like all the others, but the light inside was brighter. And in the left corner of the porch, almost in shadow, someone stood. A man. Tall, thin, facing forward, but his face was hidden by the house's shadow. He didn't move, didn't seem to be sitting. Just standing there, rigid, like a statue. I stopped too, instinctively. Stared for a few seconds. The man didn't budge, not a step, not a gesture. The only thing that changed was the feeling inside me. The unsettling certainty that he had been there before I saw him, watching me. I called out. No answer. I stepped up onto the curb, still trying to figure out if he was the one waiting for the delivery. But before I could get closer, a light inside the house went out and the man disappeared. As if swallowed by the darkness, I turned back quickly, took another street. But within 2 minutes, I turned a corner, and there he was again. Same stance, same porch, same gaze I couldn't see but could feel. Only now it was a different house, a different number, other side of the street. The neighborhood seemed to be folding in on itself. Houses switching places, a living, shifting structure, and the man. He kept reappearing. Every time I turned onto a new street, he'd show up at a different house. He never moved, never spoke, just appeared, and the app kept ringing. Delivery incomplete. Customer waiting. Destination nearby. The worst part was when I tried to turn off my phone, the screen wouldn't respond. The buttons didn't work. And then, without me doing anything, the map opened on its own. It showed the neighborhood as a web of streets looping in circles, and at the center, a blinking red dot, the destination. But the closer I tried to get, the more the dot seemed to move away. And each time I returned to the roundabout with the 3 streetlights, the man on the porch was a little closer to the street, as if he knew I had nowhere else to go. By now, the neighborhood felt like a sealed space. No matter how many times I tried to leave, the path would double back, twist on itself, and return me to the same spot, the corner with 3 streetlights, where the third always blinked, like a metronome for the madness growing inside me. I tried running, cutting through blocks, using visual landmarks to mark my way, but every attempt ended in the same repetition. Houses with the same faded paint, the same scratch on the fence, the same TV inside playing static. Like a set built by someone or something, with little imagination, but an overwhelming urge to keep me trapped there. I checked my phone. The map was gone. The signal had vanished. Even the internal GPS no longer showed my position. Just a blinking red dot at the center of the screen, where the map used to be. I tried using the help feature on the app, but everything froze. Even the clock had been wiped. It was like the system had entered its own mode, disconnected from the rest of the world. And then something changed. The houses started to look different, not in any obvious way, but in the details. A window that had been round was now square. A blue door was now green with a different handle. The number of steps changed. Some trees disappeared. The hum from the streetlights grew louder, like a buzzing that drilled into my ears. Irritating, relentless, almost alive. The fallen sign at the intersection I had passed earlier was now standing, and it clearly displayed the neighborhood's name, North Point. I had never heard of this place. It wasn't on any map. No delivery driver in the city had ever mentioned it. As if the neighborhood only existed at night. Only for those who entered it by mistake. Like me, I started banging on doors, desperate. None opened, no answers. Some houses had lights on, others had shadows moving behind curtains. But as soon as I got close, everything stopped. Everything froze. I saw the porch man again, now closer. He was on the other side of the street, standing under the dim light of a street lamp. His face was still a dark blur, shapeless. But something about his body looked more solid. As if with each loop, he became more real, more defined. When I ran back to where I thought my car should be, I found only a phone booth. An old one, with fogged-up glass and graffiti scratched on the inside. I didn't even remember seeing it before. But there it was, open, with something lying on the floor, a printed slip. A delivery receipt. My name was on it. Full name, time, date, and the date was for the next day. The order was exactly the same. House number 77, South Court Lane. Customer, returning user. The slip slipped from my hands. And when I turned around, the figure from the porch was standing in the middle of the street. still, faceless, holding a package. I held the paper for a few seconds before letting it fall to the ground, as if that could free me from what it meant. The slip shouldn't exist. No one schedules a delivery for the next day with a receipt already printed before the order even happens. But there it was, my name, the order number, and the same message the app had been repeating: returning customer, delivery pending. I tried to get out. I ran behind a few houses, jumped a low fence, and crossed what looked like a small park. But even there, without streets, the neighborhood's logic held. Symmetrical trees, identical concrete benches, street lamps humming with the same static. I reached another street, seemingly different, a little darker, too quiet. The only thing that stood out was a house with its lights on. House number 77, the same address from the slip. Even though I'd never seen that place before, I knew I had to go inside. As if the entire neighborhood had guided me there. The gate was unlocked. The yard was overgrown, but there were tracks of footprints pressed into the dry dirt. Footprints leading to the front door. I pushed it gently. The door opened without resistance, like it had been waiting for me. Inside, silence. The air was colder. Lights were on in specific spots. A hallway, the kitchen in the back, and a living room to the right. I walked into the living room. There was a table set with an empty plate and silverware lined up neatly. Next to it, a small envelope with the delivery app's logo. Inside, a carefully folded receipt. My name, my signature. As if I had already left it there. But I didn't remember making that delivery. My bag was empty. I didn't remember picking up the order. Or maybe this had all happened before. And now I was just repeating it. The kitchen was tidy but covered in a thin layer of dust, like it hadn't been used in years. In the hallway, old portraits with blurred faces hung crooked on the walls. No names, no sounds. The only thing alive there was the light. I went back to the living room, staring at the receipt with my signature. I didn't remember writing anything. Didn't remember being there before. But everything in that space screamed otherwise. The wall phone rang. A dry, deep sound, out of sync with time. I let it ring. It stopped on its own. And then I heard footsteps, upstairs, slow, heavy steps. Like someone walking with effort. Each step made the floor creak like old wood. I froze, eyes fixed on the ceiling. The living room light flickered for a second, then steadied. I tried to leave. But the front door was now locked, not with a key. It just wouldn't open. I went to the window, jammed. The handle wouldn't turn. I ran to the kitchen. The back door led to the same yard. Only now it looked different, narrower, with fences taller than before. And when I returned to the living room, the chair at the table was pulled out, as if someone had just sat down, or was waiting for me to deliver the order. The light flickered again, and the footsteps upstairs stopped, right above me. The next morning, the app's control center logged a successful delivery at 5:17 a.m. address, 77 South Court Lane, North Point neighborhood. Delivery driver, Caleb. Status, customer satisfied. But no one at the company knew that name. No active employee with that profile. No ride listed in the actual platform history. The neighborhood? It wasn't in the system. No mapped region with that name. No street called South Court Lane. But the system showed a map with the full delivery route. A circular path. No beginning, no end. Hours later, a new delivery driver got a notification. Available run, returning customer. Address, 77 South Court Lane. Estimated time, 23 minutes. The driver, newly registered, accepted. The app mapped a route to an unnamed area on the map. A gray zone, no satellite images. No landmarks. When he reached the street, he slowed down. Old houses, all similar. An unusual silence, flickering street lamps. And in the distance, a figure standing still on the porch of house number 77. The driver stepped out of the car with a delivery bag in hand, not knowing that from that point on, every street he traveled would pull him further away from the real city, and closer to a place where time spins in circles, and deliveries never end. I started working as a rideshare driver because I needed quick cash. New city, end of a relationship, piling bills, the usual story. Driving at night seemed more profitable. Less traffic, longer rides, quieter passengers. At first, it was smooth. Bars, restaurants, hospitals. A few odd characters, but nothing that made me want to quit. Until that night. It was around 2 in the morning when a ride popped up. The customer name was strange, just frequent rider. No photo, no rating. The destination was outside the urban area, in a gray zone on the map. The app showed the route, but regular GPS didn't even recognize the road. The fare was above average. I accepted without thinking twice. The ride would take me to the city's edge, near a rural area I didn't know well. I turned the music down low, checked the mirrors, and started following the path. As I left the city lights behind, the air inside the car felt heavier. The road ahead narrowed, flanked by tall trees, and for some reason, my phone signal started to fade. When I reached the fork marked in the app, I saw a half-collapsed sign at the roadside. Route 213, never heard of it. The entrance was dark, barely lit, swallowed by overgrown brush. A single street lamp to the left cast a weak yellow glow on the cracked pavement. But the app said, "Proceed. Customer waiting." I hit the gas and went in. From that point on, something changed. The night felt thicker, the silence more solid. It was as if, by crossing that line, I had left the city and entered another kind of space, one that didn't belong to the world I knew. Route 213 was too narrow to be a main road, but there were old marks on the asphalt like it had once been used regularly. Trees arched over the road, forming a natural tunnel. My headlights barely cut through the darkness ahead. The phone signal vanished completely within the first few miles. The only thing still working was the app. Its interface looked normal, showing I was on the right path, but with one new detail, a fixed notification at the top of the screen. Frequent rider. Pickup point ahead. The road had no signs, no intersections, no other vehicles. Just random street lamps scattered at odd intervals. Some lit, some flickering from electrical glitches. At times I thought I saw figures at the edges, human shapes among the trees, but every time I looked directly, there was nothing there. After the fourth flickering street lamp, I noticed something even more unsettling. The road surface seemed to repeat, same cracks, same pattern of fallen leaves. Even a faint tire mark I could swear I'd seen before. As if the road was looping, I slowed down. GPS had stopped updating my position, but the app kept insisting, "Continue. Customer waiting." I started to feel like no matter how far I drove, I wasn't actually moving forward. The landscape was a replica or a copy with slight changes, sometimes a new branch in the road, sometimes a rock that hadn't been there before, but always the same sensation. I was circling, trapped in something pretending to be a road. Suddenly the car beeped. New ride available, same place. Same name, frequent rider. I accepted again without thinking, as if I had a choice. The notification vanished from the screen, replaced by a soft, familiar sound, the tone that plays when a passenger enters the car, but I didn't see anyone. I looked in the rearview mirror, fogged up. I reached out to wipe it, and for a second, I saw the figure. Sitting in the back seat, a man, broad shoulders, wearing a dark coat. His face was out of angle, or maybe blurred, like my eyes couldn't focus on it. I tried to speak, but no words came out. The app displayed, "Ride in progress." I kept driving, slowly. The passenger said nothing. No destination appeared in the system. Just the road ahead, wrapped deeper and deeper in fog. 2 minutes later, I looked again. The back seat was empty. I stopped the car. Turned around. Nothing. The seat was there, untouched. No open door, no sound of someone getting out. The ride, however, still showed as active. I tried canceling through the app. The option was gone. Then came another notification. New ride, passenger waiting. Same name, frequent rider. I accepted. The process repeated. The seat felt occupied. The car felt heavier. Breathing got harder, but there was never a conversation, never a face. And always a few minutes later, the seat would be empty again. The only constant was the app, rides coming in, passengers leaving without existing, and Route 213 stretching on endlessly. The road was darker now, street lamps spaced farther apart, vegetation closing in. And the radio, though turned off, started humming, static mixed with distant voices, whispering low. No words I could understand. It was during the fifth ride that I noticed something different. A smell, dampness, wet earth, and something else, organic, like someone had left something alive in the back seat. I looked in the mirror again, and for a moment, what I saw wasn't a regular passenger. It was a child's face, pale, wide-eyed, staring right at me. I blinked. The seat was empty, but the static stopped, and a calm, clear child's voice said one word: delivery. After the voice on the radio, I turned off the engine and took a deep breath. The air outside was colder than before. Not temperature cold, but something else, like the air itself was aging. I tried going back. Reversed for about 100 meters, but quickly realized I was back at the same curve. GPS still silent, app still active. And another ride request appeared. This time, the name was different. Girl. Frequent rider. I frowned, hesitant, but something in me had stopped resisting. I tapped accept and waited. 2 minutes later, I saw a figure at the roadside. Small, still, near one of the few spots lit by a working street lamp. I slowed the car. The little girl wore a white dress, dirt-stained at the bottom, and hugged a teddy bear tightly to her chest. Her eyes locked on mine, unblinking, no expression, just presence. The rear door opened by itself. She got in. Didn't say a word. Didn't move. The car felt heavier, the air thicker. I felt the steering wheel tremble slightly, like even the vehicle didn't want to keep going. I drove slowly. The girl remained silent. Just kept her eyes fixed on the back of the front seat, like she was waiting for something that hadn't happened yet. After a few minutes, she lifted one small dirty finger and pointed to the right side of the road, a dark patch with no light. Just brush and shadows, a shoulder. I pulled over, waited for her to say something or get out, but there was no sound. I turned slowly. The back seat was empty. Once again, the door hadn't opened. No movement, no voice. But something was different this time. There was a piece of paper on the seat, torn at the edges with a faded image. I picked it up carefully. It was a photo, the road. Route 213. Taken from above, maybe by a drone or a helicopter, an impossible angle. In the image, several cars were stopped along the shoulder, all with headlights on, all the same model, same make as mine. I looked again at the road around me, dark, silent, but now, there were lights ahead, headlights. 1, 2, maybe more, parked, no engines running, no sound. And that's when I realized I wasn't driving alone. I never had been. I tried restarting my phone, but it froze on a black screen. The app's logo stayed stuck for a few seconds before a new interface appeared. Unlike anything I'd seen before. It was a list, names, dates. Each line followed the same format: driver's name, ride type, status. Most said, not completed. A few read, delivered. And all had the same final note, frequent writer. I kept scrolling. Some names were crossed out, others flashed red. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Many seemed foreign, names I didn't recognize. But at the end of the list, my name appeared, Evan, night ride. Status, in progress. Date, that same night. My first thought was that the app had some kind of virus. But deep down I knew. This was a log, a ledger. I tried to back out of the screen, but the system wouldn't return to normal. The only visible option was a gray button in the bottom corner. Proceed to final delivery. I didn't touch it. I looked around. The road no longer looked the same. The brush around it had grown taller, like it was rising by the minute. All the street lamps were off, except one, the one ahead. And beneath it, a new car parked. Identical to mine. Headlights on. I pulled into the shoulder slowly. There were others there too, parked cars. Some with doors open, others with closed windows and empty interiors. No sign of life, no sound. The app beeped sharply. The screen flashed. A new notification appeared on its own. Final ride approaching. And below it, a new status. Final destination confirmed. No route, no map. Just a straight line into the dark. And the choking realization that no matter how hard I tried to leave, Route 213 didn't end. My phone no longer made any sound. The screen was stuck on a single phrase, last ride, passenger waiting. I took a deep breath and stepped on the gas. The road seemed narrower now, like the trees were closing in. Thick fog made the headlights useless, showing only what was a few feet ahead. And then I saw him. In the middle of the road. A figure standing under the only working street lamp. Dark silhouette, arms by his sides, completely still. I slowed down as I got closer. And then, just for a moment, I saw the face. It was mine. Identical. Same haircut, same jacket, same expression of fear in the eyes. The me on the road stood there, staring straight at me. And in the passenger seat beside me, I was there too. The car kept moving on its own. The steering wheel stopped responding. The pedals went stiff, like the vehicle was being controlled by something else. Everything went black in an instant. The street lamp blinked out. The engine died. Absolute silence. And then click, the soft sound of a new ride starting. But I wasn't holding the phone anymore. And I wasn't in the driver's seat. The sun rose gray that morning. A new driver, named Tyler, freshly registered on the app, got his first ride of the day at 5:23 a.m. The customer? Frequent. The destination? An unidentified spot outside the city perimeter. The app listed it as alternate route, traffic-free. The fare was above average. Curious, he accepted. The app guided him through empty streets to a back road, hidden between thick trees and rusted signs. When he saw the entrance, he hesitated for a moment. A crooked sign swung in the wind. On it, nearly faded letters. Route 213. The app flashed. Proceed. Tyler shifted into first and entered. Within the first few meters, he noticed something on the shoulder. A car, parked, its low beams still on, windows fogged. It looked abandoned, but far too new to have been there long. He slowed down, peering in. In the driver's seat, there was a phone. Still on. The screen displayed an active ride. Driver, Evan, status, en route. Tyler tried to grab the phone, but the door was locked. He looked once more down the road ahead. Fog had begun to gather. The street lamps blinked in a pattern, as if marking a path. The radio, though off, let out a hiss. And a calm, childlike voice whispered, "Delivery." Tyler hit the gas, unaware that he had just entered a road that doesn't appear on any map, and that no one drives by chance. Route 213 has no exit, and it's always waiting for the next name on the list.